Let's start with an uncomfortable confession. While some tech billionaires spent the week embarrassing themselves in public, I managed to embarrass myself in private by creating what might be the worst painting ever produced by a functioning adult. I skipped every sensible step. No sketch, no plan, no color testing. I looked at a blank canvas with the confidence of a startup founder promising to change the world. And 10 minutes later I had accidentally invented modern regret. The difference is my disaster only ruined one canvas. Some people are making billion-dollar mistakes. That brings us to the real story. 3 completely different headlines landed within days of each other. A tech CEO had what looked like a live television meltdown. A billionaire accused the Pope of helping China. Across America, politicians started losing elections because of AI data centers. At first glance, these stories seem unrelated. They aren't. They all point to the same problem. The AI industry is racing so fast toward tomorrow that it has forgotten today's problems are piling up. The first headline belongs to Palantir CEO Alex Karp. He appeared on CNBC to discuss a partnership with NVIDIA that would build AI infrastructure for the US government. That was the plan. Instead, viewers watched nearly 20 minutes of frustration spill onto live television. Karp attacked the AI industry's pricing model, calling token-based systems used by companies like OpenAI and Anthropic insane. His argument was actually simple beneath all the chaos. Businesses don't want to rent intelligence forever. They want to own their computing infrastructure, control their data, and stop paying what he described as an endless tax every time an AI answers a question. He's not completely wrong. If your entire business depends on someone else's servers, someone else's models and someone else's pricing, you're never really in control. Governments especially hate that idea because national security and dependency don't mix well. The problem wasn't the message. It was the delivery. Watching Karp explain it felt like watching someone give a TED Talk while being chased by invisible bees. Even the CNBC hosts looked like they were searching for the emergency exit. 2 days earlier, Palantir co-founder Peter Thiel somehow managed to top that performance. During a public discussion, he suggested Pope Leo XIV was effectively helping China because the Pope called for international rules around artificial intelligence. That's a remarkable leap in logic. The Pope argued AI should respect human dignity, avoid mass surveillance, protect workers and place limits on autonomous weapons. Somehow Thiel heard. Clearly Beijing wrote this. Here's the funny part. The Vatican has actually been working with AI companies to discuss ethics. They're not trying to ban AI. They're trying to prevent humanity from sleepwalking into problems nobody prepared for. Saying that makes the Pope a Chinese agent is like accusing your smoke alarm of working for the fire. This matters because it shows how polarized the AI conversation has become. If someone says, maybe trillion-dollar technologies should have guardrails, they're instantly treated as enemies of innovation. That's not debate. That's panic disguised as confidence. Meanwhile, something much quieter was happening across the United States, and it might be the biggest story of them all. Politicians started losing elections because of data centers. Several major AI infrastructure projects have run into fierce local resistance. Communities are asking very basic questions. Why does this building need more electricity than entire cities? Why is it consuming huge amounts of water during droughts? Why are taxpayers subsidizing facilities that mostly benefit giant technology companies? And perhaps the most dangerous question of all for any politician. Why didn't anyone ask us first? Billions of dollars worth of projects have already been delayed or blocked. Local elections are becoming referendums on AI infrastructure. That's a huge shift. Until recently, AI was something people argued about online. Now it's affecting electricity bills, water supplies, and neighborhood planning. Once politics becomes local, it becomes real. The irony is that the technology itself is doing incredibly well. Researchers once believed AI wouldn't reach some advanced mathematical milestones until the 2030s or even 2050. Instead, those predictions are collapsing years ahead of schedule. Models are solving problems that experts expected to remain out of reach for decades. That's extraordinary progress. At the same time, researchers are making AI dramatically more efficient. New architectures activate only the parts of a model needed for each task instead of running the whole system every single time. Think of calling one specialist instead of waking up an entire hospital because you sneezed. Other breakthroughs are reducing energy consumption while improving performance. That means today's giant power demands may not define tomorrow's AI. This is where the real story sits. The technology isn't failing. Governance is. People often frame AI as a choice between blind optimism and total doom. That's the wrong debate. The models are getting smarter at astonishing speed. The institutions deploying them are struggling to keep up. Those are two separate realities happening simultaneously. The AI industry spent years selling a future filled with abundance, productivity, and scientific breakthroughs. Those breakthroughs are arriving. But so are political backlash, infrastructure fights, and public distrust. That's what happens when deployment moves faster than public consent. History shows this pattern again and again. Technology isn't usually rejected because it exists. It's rejected when people feel it is being forced on them without transparency or accountability. Railways, factories, nuclear power, and social media all faced versions of this problem. AI is simply the latest chapter. The lesson from this week isn't that AI is bad. It's that intelligence without judgment creates unnecessary chaos. Whether it's a CEO ranting on television, a billionaire accusing the Pope of secretly working for China, or politicians discovering voters don't enjoy paying higher utility bills for someone else's chatbot, every story points to the same conclusion. Building the future is the easy part. Bringing people along for the journey is much harder. The biggest risk to AI isn't the technology becoming too intelligent. It's the people running it acting like criticism is the enemy instead of free consulting. Every time companies dismiss legitimate concerns, they create more resistance. Every time they skip transparency, they lose trust. And trust, unlike venture capital, can't be raised overnight. So if this week proved anything, it's that artificial intelligence is advancing faster than expected, while human wisdom is still waiting for the software update. The machines seem to be learning remarkably quickly. The adults in charge still have a few patches to install.